Good morning, guys. All right, so this is our second day lesson. We are going to talk about the angle of depression as well as the angle of elevation, and we're going to do some reciprocal trig functions. So let's talk about the angle of depression. So if you see here, I'm not a very good artist, so this is my airplane, okay? This is our airport tower. So angle of depression is when the airplane pilot can look down at the tower. But what I need you to know is you are on top of the line, okay? So the angle of depression is here. It is not below the line. So angle of depression, you are on the top looking down. The angle of elevation is looking up, but now you are under the line. Okay, so when an object is above or below another object, you can find the distance indirectly by using the angle of elevation or the angle of depression between the objects, because all you have to do is create some triangles, and then we can use our trig functions to find, okay? So for our first example, we are going to look at a park ranger example, okay? So a park ranger whose eye level is 5 feet above the ground. So I did my little guy, and he's 5 foot above the ground. All right. Measures the angle of elevation to the top of an eruption of Old Faithful geyser to be 34.6. Okay, measures the angle of elevation. So he's looking up to the top of the geyser, and remember the elevation is under the line, so it's 34.6 degrees right here. If the ranger is standing 200 feet from the geyser's base, okay, so here's the base, and now I'm 200 feet this way. What is the height of the eruption to the nearest foot? So you want to know what your x is, okay? So we have a triangle here, guys. This is 200. This is an angle of 34.6, and we are looking for this side. Okay, so first, whenever you do these problems, I want you just to start drawing it out. Doesn't matter what kind of artist you are. Okay, step 2. Okay, so x represents the height of the eruption compared with the ranger's eye level. We are determining what x is. So if I stand here at my theta, 34.6, look at what you have. Okay, you have an adjacent, which is 200, and you have the opposite, what you're looking for is x. So I'm going to do tangent. Okay, so that's opposite over adjacent. So I get x over 200. Okay, so when I solve for x, I get x alone. I'm going to multiply both sides by 200. So now I have 200 times tan of 34.6. You can do a calculator. You get 138. Okay, and then step 3 is, I still don't know, that's not my total x because the eye level is 5 feet above the ground. Okay, so I just have to add that 5 feet to get the x is 143. All right, let's talk about reciprocal trig functions. All right, so the reciprocal, okay, everyone knows that reciprocals, if I have 1/3, the reciprocal would be 3 over 1. Okay, so you just flip it. So if I have sine, the reciprocal of sine is 1 over sine, okay? So we call our reciprocal trig functions a cosecant for sine, a secant for cosine, and a cotangent for tangent. Okay, so cotangent is very easy because tangent is right in the word. I remember secant is for cosine because there's only one c in the word, okay? And cosine only has one c. And then we can just eliminate and have cosecant for sine. Okay, so cosecant would be hypotenuse over opposite because sine is what? Opposite over hypotenuse. Okay, so what is the reciprocal of opposite over hypotenuse? Well, it's hypotenuse over opposite. Okay, so we are just doing reciprocals here. Okay, when we go down, I want you guys to do 8 through 12, and 19 through 23. So let's look at number 8. Okay? An escalator in a mall must lift customers to a height of 22 feet. Okay? So here's my ground. It has to lift customers to 22 feet. If the angle between the escalator, stairs, and the ground is 30, so here's my ground and here's my escalator, that's a 30-degree angle, what will be the length L of the escalator? So the length of the escalator is L. Okay, so again, put yourself right here at 30 degrees. What information do we have? We have opposite and we have hypotenuse. So I'm going to do a sine. So sine of 30 equals 22 over L. Okay, we're going to get L alone, and we find out it's 44 feet. Okay, number 9. Okay, the pilot of a hot air balloon measures the angle of depression to a landing spot to be 20.5. Now, angle of depression, remember I told you it was on the top of the line. So it's not this angle, it's actually this angle, 20.5. If the pilot's altitude is 90 meters, so we're up 90 meters, what is the horizontal distance between the balloon and the landing spot? So we're looking for x. So we have 20.5. Well, this is a right angle, right? So I'm going to do 90 minus the 20.5, and I get 69.5. So you're going to use the 69.5. Okay? If I have 69.5, you say to yourself, what information do I have? Well, I have the adjacent, and then I have the opposite. So we're going to do tangent. So our answer is 241. All right. And on number 10. Okay, so 10, we are going to find all 6 trig functions. Okay, so the first thing here that you have to find out is what your hypotenuse is. And with right triangles, we all know that a squared plus b squared equals c squared, right? So all I'm doing is filling it in. 3 squared plus 5 squared equals c squared, and I'm solving. So I know my hypotenuse is the square root of 34. So now I can go and fill in all of my 6 trig functions. Okay, think about so, ka, toa. Okay, that's where these are. Now remember, you cannot have a radical in your denominator. So you're going to multiply both the top and the bottom by square root of 34, which leaves a regular 34 in the bottom, and then 5 times the square root of 34 on top. Okay, for the reciprocals, I just changed it over here. So opposite over hypotenuse now becomes hypotenuse over opposite. Okay, adjacent over hypotenuse now becomes hypotenuse over adjacent. And opposite over adjacent now becomes adjacent over opposite. So now you can use these. And that's it. All right, good luck, guys.